So we're back for another season of My Big Fat Fabulous Life. Can you tease for viewers what we'll get to see happen this season?
Well, in general, I think people might argue that I've always been in crisis, but I'm for real in crisis, I think, for the first time this season. I turned 40 in April, and the midlife crisis has been hitting pretty hard. So there's a lot kind of surrounding that life change, what that means for me, what that means in terms of, partnerships, my fertility, things like that. My friends are all here, and so is my family that everybody met last season. Um, and yeah, my niece got married, so there's just, a lot of cool stuff going on.
What are you looking for in your next relationship?
I think I'm looking for what most people are looking for. My friends tend to tell me that I have high expectations or high standards, but I I think my standards are just very normal. Obviously, I want someone that I'm attracted to. I want someone who's smart, funny, kind, makes me feel comfortable, someone who I would say can protect me a little bit because I think in every single one of my relationships, except for maybe with the French man, I've kind of been the more dominant person and played that role because the man couldn't. And I definitely don't want that. So I think that's something big I look for is, um, a man who can just be a man.
And besides all of that, are there any particular like personality traits you're looking for maybe in the next partner?
Well, I mean, I have to date someone who's very open, who is open to learning, someone who's curious, someone who's playful, someone who um, is a feminist, someone obviously who believes in body positivity, all of those things. If those things are not aligned, obviously, I couldn't really find any future in that kind of partnership.
That totally makes sense. And we also saw in the first episode, your ex Lenny had welcomed a baby. What was going through your mind when he told you about that?
I was shocked. Well, I was actually leaving to go overseas when he told me that he was pregnant. Or well, he wasn't pregnant. Don't quote me on that, right? Lenny was pregnant. Um, so you don't actually get to see that in the season. He came over and told me that the baby was born, but when he actually told me that his partner was pregnant, I was shocked, and he was showing me an ultrasound that he was like, "Oh, look at this little movie I've been working on." And then he showed me an ultrasound, and I was so confused. And then I saw the name of the OBGYN, which is where I go, and I was like, "What? What?" And I was like just totally shocked. So I was the first person besides his family that knew that he was going to have the baby, and then he didn't tell anyone else. So I didn't tell anyone else. So when he had the baby, literally no one else even knew that he was expecting a baby. So I got to throw the baby shower, which was also a surprise, like, by the way, there is a baby, and nobody else knew. So that was like the weirdest and coolest party I think I ever threw for sure.
And we got to see your dad's reaction. Were you surprised how he reacted to the situation?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't seen the season. I don't remember how my dad reacted.
He asked if they were going to get married, basically.
Oh, right. Yeah. It's so funny. I always tease my dad about this, but it should be surprising that he still clings on to this tradition, but it's not. And it should be surprising because obviously we know that my dad had a child, out of wedlock when he was very young. Um, but yet he still thinks that, you need to be married to have kids. So, I just dad's set in his ways. He's almost 80, so we let Glenn Thor be Glenn Thor.
Yeah, I feel like he doesn't mean any harm by it.
Oh, certainly not. No.
But kind of taking a bit of a turn, we also saw this terrible incident in the premiere
Mm,
episode where someone vandalized your house and left a really awful hate-filled message. I actually teared up when I was watching it, and I'm so
mm.
sorry you had to go through that. That was very hard to watch, and I can't imagine what it was like to go through it. What was going through your mind when that happened?
I wish I could say that. I mean, it's not surprising for me. These things have happened to me over the years. They've never happened while we were filming. Um, well, one time I think my car or my RV got vandalized, and I found it on camera, but I have never had anything like that happen on camera before. So while like viewers might be really shocked by it, like this isn't new for me, and it's really so sad that like it's not that shocking to me. I have people come to my house over the years more times than you can imagine. I've had people walk into my parents' home, people come ring my doorbell, I've had people throw a brick through my car window, all kinds of things that have never actually been on the show because we weren't in production when they happened. So my thought um with this is obviously it was horrible. I couldn't believe that somebody had the balls to do it while we were shooting. And I think that I'm not convinced that they realized that we were shooting. I don't know if they did or not. I think if they did realize it, then they just wanted that much attention. And it's just really scary, like the links that people will go to. And you know, when it's at your home too, it's not like it's not just on the internet, which of course I get more than my fair share of threats and all that kind of stuff on the internet. But it's really scary, yeah, when people come to your home, and the card was especially nasty.
Yeah.
Um, I honestly, I haven't read it since then. I think I remember something in it about um my mother, that my mother would be rolling over in her grave or something like that. And I get comments like that online, and I will say, since my mother died, I thought I'd heard every horrible thing that someone could say to me, but so nothing shocks me. But when people started using my mother like against me, like after she died, or people would say your mother would hate this, your mother wouldn't be proud of you, or something like that, like I was shocked by that. I was shocked that people would yeah, use my dead mother to make me feel bad. I think that's the most horrific um thing that you could do to somebody. So yeah, that was hard, obviously.
I mean, that's just so disgusting that someone would do that. I feel like you should just burn that note and just, I don't know. That's just so, I'm so sorry. Like, that is just so
Yeah.
disturbing that people do these things. Like, that's just, oh, my heart goes out to you. That's terrible. Do you have any message you want to share with like the haters or people who leave messages like this? I feel like it takes a truly like sick person, I feel, to like
Mm.
to do that type of thing.
I mean, agreed. And that's what's scary is I think when you're in the public eye, and I try not to take it too personally because I see people all over the internet getting the same kind of crap that I do. But when you're in the public eye, it's really scary when you see, and this has been over 10 years for me now. When you just see how normal it is for people to act the way they act, and I wonder all the time, are this many people are like they're generally like they're honestly unwell, like they've got to be mentally ill, like this is not normal behavior. And I know that people often try to comfort, and they'll say, "Oh, these are just trolls, just ignore them." And I really hate it when people say that, because these aren't imaginary people somewhere on the internet. These are real human beings that are people's sisters, friends, husbands, sons. These are real people. And I think when you just say, oh, they're trolls, it really just diminishes the impact of what people, these are real life people, sitting at home typing. And mostly it just makes me really sad. And I think if you're one of these people who even the most innocuous things that you can think of online, like I don't comment on strangers unless I have something nice to say. I literally I just
Please.
don't say it. And
Yeah.
I'm a strong person, but I truly believe, and I'm not saying this to be provocative or anything, if the things that have happened to me, and there's so many things, like I said, that people don't know about because they haven't been on camera, these things had happened to someone else who maybe wasn't quite as strong, um, it would not be surprising to me that somebody would end their life over this kind of stuff. It has brought me to the darkest places that you can imagine. I mean, really horrible. And I think people don't think of the impact, and the cumulative impact of what that's like. And people should, because um your actions matter and your words matter, so I don't know what hope there is, honestly. I've been going through it for so long, and it gets worse and worse and worse. So I don't know what kind of solution there is, but I feel really, really sad and sorry for people who are the culprits of that. I mean, I can't imagine how miserable
Yeah.
you've got to be, but
I pray that these type of people get some help or something, because I feel like anyone who's truly like at peace with themselves would never say anything like that, or like
No, it's
comments. I've never once like felt compelled to even say
never.
something like your hair looks bad. Like, like you wouldn't say that to someone, like,
And
like
that's what I mean, like stuff like that, people just think, oh, it's totally innocuous. And it's like, even that, it's not. You would never go up to someone and say that to them in person. Like, why do we feel, right, that it's okay? I know that's like just part of the plight of being a reality TV star, but it is not easy. And especially between last season and when we started filming this one, the online hate was absolutely, I don't know, like I said, I haven't seen the season, so I'm not sure what all is in there, but it was out of control to the point where it was like the darkest place I'd ever been in my life. Like it is, it's not for the faint of heart.
well, I'm so sorry you've had to go through that. That's just like unimaginable, and I can't imagine that. So I'm so sorry you've had to experience that, the dark side of humanity, I feel like.
Yeah.
But
But the on the other side, I get a lot of positive.
that's what I was just gonna
Yeah.
say. On the flip side, though, you are like representation and inspiration for so many people, women, individuals out there who see themselves in you. And I feel like there are a lot of people who love to like watch your show. I personally love to watch your show. I think it's like so fun. I mean, not the dark
Yeah.
parts of it, but
Right.
like your family is like a light to
The,
see
the
together.
cats.
Yes, yes, cats. What is it? How does it feel seeing those positive reactions though on the flip side?
I mean, uh, if it didn't have positives, of course, I couldn't do it. And the positives are great and they really matter. I think the part that's hard is that when you're on a TV show, people watch you and they have this parasocial relationship with you and they think they know you, right? So I'm in all these other people's living rooms, but in my living room, it's just me and Henshi. There's nobody else here. And so, especially since the pandemic and the way life has kind of changed since then, I've become much more isolated, and so I don't see um, the positives like out in the real world as much. You're kind of just stuck on the internet with all this like hate and awful stuff. But that's one reason I love other components of what I do, like public speaking and things like that, because I get to interface with like real people and see their faces and their smiles and hear their stories, and that is so meaningful for me. I think that a lot of times you can kind of feel like the negativity is worse, because when you're online, it's really easy to see so much of that.
Mhm.
um but I'm very lucky, like when I do leave the house, I mean, I haven't left the house once in 10 years and not had someone come up to me and say something totally lovely. And it's not, I don't even care what they say about me. I mean, compliments are nice, but I love to hear about them. And I love to hear about how the show has affected them in positive ways. You wouldn't believe, one of my favorite comments is how many daughters will say to me, my mother and I watched the show and we laughed and it was our thing. And some of them, their mothers have passed, but they say it was one of my favorite memories. And um I love that, and I love that people are exposed to my family and my friends, my mother, and her legacy is going to live on, you know for a long time through all the people that watched her and loved her, and that's really comforting.